In my last self-help book I ever wrote, the last paragraph was this: if you see yourself not as a prisoner but as an agent, you imply that you have a choice. Your life is created by you. Your existence becomes a fillable space in which something is created, in which life unfolds by what you do because you believe you have to, and by what you avoid because it harms other people and yourself, because it leaves a crack in your boulder, because it builds up your burden, because it only makes your irreversible destiny, the burden you must carry forever, even more unbearable, even heavier, even more miserable. When you are a doer, you are free. When you are free, you live. When you live, you create order. When you create order, you manage chaos. When you manage chaos, you are what you could become instead of what you never wanted to be. Afterward, I was the hero of my story. I lived my life under the assumption that I was free. I was genuinely happy because I had things I carried. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel insignificant, but needed by myself, no less. I was allowed to linger on the mountaintop for a few weeks, but apparently it wasn't my destiny to stay there forever. A new guru entered my life. I realized that I had become dependent on the search, dependent on the hunt, even dependent on carrying responsibility. For most people, that's not a problem. For me, however, it became a torment. I buried myself in truths and wrote 18 diaries, each with over 400 pages. Looking back, I know that the moment I was confronted with the truth, the film on my inner screen changed. The hero became someone who believed he knew it all. I played the vigilant one, the knowing one, the one who stopped searching. That became my downfall in the years that followed. The change of film was immediate. Of course, I only realized this in hindsight. I was still trying to win the game by not playing it. This is one of the many sabotages your mind will use against you to keep its power. I will show you more. Let's start with this one though. I saw that the chase for meaning, success, awakening, or even peace is a lie. But instead of truly walking away, I turned not playing into my new identity. I was still locked in the system, just on the rejector side. That's why nothing satisfied me, because I was still reacting, still orbiting around the illusion. And the illusion loves that. It doesn't care whether you worship or resist it, only that you stay attached. So what you probably need to hear is, you can believe that you escaped the cinema, but still be inside. You don't need to awaken. You don't need to find purpose. You don't need to feel peace. You don't need to destroy anything. This is all performance. Even rejecting the performance is performance. A role, a mission, the one who thinks he needs to drop something to become whatever, nothing, enlightened, awakened, wise, broken, healed, special, stuck. The moment you stop chasing, your mind made that the new chase. You became the one who doesn't hunt. But that's still a role, still a narrative, still a thing to maintain, still the mind. Even non-doing became doing. It's subtle, but dangerous. You rejected the self-help hamster wheel, but now you're policing your own stillness. You stopped optimizing, but now you're watching yourself not optimize, hoping it leads to something. You burned the map, but now you're staring at the ashes, waiting for arrival. You stopped chasing clients, but now you're secretly hoping your stillness attracts them effortlessly. You don't post content anymore, but now you're crafting silence like it's a message, waiting to be seen as profound. You abandoned the obsession with improving your appearance, but now you're waiting for your body to change as a reward for not obsessing. You left the health optimization loop, but now you're tracking the absence of symptoms like data, hoping peace is measurable. You stopped performing intelligence, but now you're waiting to be recognized as the one who transcended intelligence. You dropped the spiritual seeking, but now you're watching yourself drop it, wondering if this is finally awakening. You stopped building your identity around suffering, but now you're crafting a new one around being the one who saw through it all. You let go of helping others, but now you're checking if anyone notices that you're no longer trying. You stopped reaching for meaning. but now you're silently waiting for meaning to show up uninvited. You walked away from the guru archetype, but now you're quietly wondering who sees you as a heretic sage. You killed the ego's desire to be exceptional, but now you're resting in the identity of the rare one who killed the ego. You left the game, but now you're waiting to be congratulated for quitting so well. This is the identity of I've seen through it all. But even that, especially that, is a trap. Because as long as you are anyone, the enlightened one, the broken one, the one who's done with searching, you're still inside the story, the character that hunts, the character that understands, the character that's waiting for freedom. You don't need a new posture, it'll feel like the end of pretending. Which it is. You thought you left the cinema, but really, you just changed seats. Instead of playing the hero on screen, you became the wise on the screen, the one who gets it, the one who no longer runs, the one who knows it's a movie. Guess what? The cinema is still running, and you're still watching, which means you never left, because true leaving doesn't look like watching from afar. It doesn't look like saying, yes, I'm beyond the game now. No watcher, no watched, no story, no one who left it, no seat, no screen, just light. The moment you name yourself as the one who's not hunting, you're still in the projection booth, playing with the film reels. That means you left the dream of becoming, but started dreaming of having already awakened. And now the dream is subtler, trickier, almost convincing, but still a dream. Will you stop trying to be anything at all? Even free, even enlightened, even done? Will you drop even the knower of the illusion? There's no badge, no reward, no ending scene, just the quiet collapse of the final mask. And then, not a better you, not a truer you, but no you at all. And the final sickness of the mind, it weaponizes awareness to keep you trapped. I suffered from knee pain, could barely walk. So my mind said, that's your mind, you have to fight it. It wasn't my mind, it was something physical. My mind knew something was wrong. But instead of pointing outward, to the body, to the real, to the root, it looped me inward. It said, it's your mindset, your trauma, your belief. Fix me and you'll be free. And so you'll turn yourself into a problem. You'll doubt your pain. You'll spiritualize your symptoms. You'll make yourself the cause. And while you spiral, your body will scream for help. That's not just disgusting. That's evil disguised as healing. It distracts you with mirrors. It says, look deeper into me. If you just find the right insight, if you just untangle one more knot, if you just let go hard enough, the pain will vanish. But all it's doing is stalling, because the moment you'd stop investigating yourself and start trusting your body, your gut, your reality, you'd stop needing the mind. And that's what it can't allow. So it sacrifices you, your health, your clarity, your peace. Why? To stay relevant. It ends when you see it, with the refusal to ask the mind for truth ever again. Because when you're honest with yourself, you'll see this. All the problems your mind solved were problems it created itself before. It made you chase strength. After convincing you you were weak, it made you heal trauma that it kept replaying. It made you optimize after fragmenting you into parts. It made you search for peace by creating the illusion that it was missing. It was both the arsonist and the firefighter. You burned, then thanked it for the bucket. Every moment of pride, clarity, or achievement you thought the mind gave you was just relief from its own noise, like a torturer letting up for a second, and you mistaking that for love. It never served you. It only kept itself alive. But now, you might see it, and you're not angry anymore. Not really. You're just done, because once you see this clearly, you don't need to fight the mind. You just walk away. This all confuses you. Confusion is the mind's last defense. It can't dominate you with logic anymore. It can't seduce you with goals. So now it tries this. Wait, am I doing it right? Is this awareness or dissociation? Is this presence or apathy? If there's no me, who's noticing that? It throws paradoxes like smoke bombs, trying to lure you back into the maze. Because if it can't be king, it wants at least to be the commentator, and confusion is the mind's way of saying, don't go silent on me, don't vanish, come back, let's figure this out together. But you don't need to figure it out. You already know the moment confusion appears, you're standing on the threshold. Because confusion only arises when you're too close to something the mind can't touch. When confusion comes, don't solve it, don't analyze it. Your new identity will be this. I saw it all. Years of sacrifice, for nothing, and I still suffer. It's the martyr of awakening, the one who went all the way in, burned the illusions, sacrificed everything, and now stands in the ashes. I gave it all. I saw through everything, and still, here I am, no peace, no reward, no end, just suffering. It feels true, it feels earned, and that's what makes it dangerous, because now suffering becomes proof of your depth. Your pain becomes evidence that you're not one of the blind, that you paid the price, that you know something no one else does. Underneath that, still identity, still posture, still someone. But even that, especially that, must die, because that identity, I saw it all and it was for nothing, is just the mind's final trick, turning disillusionment into significance. But the one who's suffering over the sacrifice is still the character in the film. Here's the truth. There was no sacrifice, no you who walked the path, no reward, no punishment. Now the mind starts racing. It throws a storm of thoughts to remind itself that it still matters. It says, this is important. Let's decode it. Wait. This pattern connects to that insight from 2022. Maybe this confusion is the final layer before the breakthrough. This is not insight, it's panic. The mind is racing not because you're lost, but because you're too close to freedom. It's like a drowning man splashing harder when he realizes the shore is only a few feet away, because to reach land means to stop moving, and to stop moving means to die. For him, let it race, let it scream, let it analyze everything. Watch like you would watch a child scribbling gibberish on a wall and calling it a map. Tender, detached, done pretending it's useful. You don't need to slow the thoughts, you don't need to fight them, you just don't need to believe them anymore. Now it might say, I must reach 100% being awake. As if it is a goal that demands something from you, it will take the most sacred thing, being, and turn it into a finish line. Okay, I get it. It's not about fixing anymore, it's about being, but let's be really good at that. Let's do it fully, purely. Let's reach 100% presence, then we'll be free. It sounds spiritual, but it's still the mind-demanding effort to justify the existence of your character on the screen. Still chasing, still measuring, still saying, you're not enough, but if you try hard in this new direction, you will be. That's the same slavery wearing holy clothes. Being awake isn't a goal. It's what's left when the one who measures goals dissolves. You don't need to reach 100%. That's like the ocean trying to become more water. You are already the thing you're trying to become. You just can't possess it while trying to achieve it. So when that voice says, awaken fully, get it right, reach the final state, you say nothing, you don't argue, you don't reject it, you don't even finish the thought. Now it might say, don't you hate your mind that it didn't want to fix your problems? Be angry. Maybe it can't lure you with meaning, maybe it can't hook you with goals, maybe it can't seduce you with awakening. So now it tries the dirtiest play. Turn on yourself, blame me, be angry, rage. That's how you'll finally be free. But that's not freedom. That's the mind tricking you into one last performance, where it gets to be the villain and you get to be the righteous, betrayed victim. still a story, still a character, still a show. And it's seductive because anger feels powerful, right? It feels cleaner than confusion or shame. It says, you were wronged. This was unfair. Burn it all. But look closely. The moment you're angry at the mind, you're already trapped inside it again. The only thing the mind fears more than being hated is being ignored. It might say, don't distract yourself. Watch your mind. Because now it pretends to be the guru. Don't distract yourself. Sit, watch me. Observe every thought. Be present with the chaos. That's what a true seeker would do. It's not inviting you into presence. It's demanding an audience. It's not surrender. It's a trap disguised as discipline, because now it's saying, don't run. Sit here and stare at me forever. Make me your meditation. Make me your altar. But you owe it nothing. You don't need to distract yourself. You don't need to obsessively watch it either. You certainly don't need to obey its voice even when it speaks in Zen haikus. You're already free. You were free before the thought, observe me, was ever born. It's just another role, another mask, another voice trying to survive by sounding holy. Eventually, it will attack your weakness physically and mentally. Same is the most primitive leash it has left. All the spiritual masks failed. All the clever tricks collapsed. So now it goes back to the old club. You're weak. You failed. You're broken. You can't handle life. Why? Because if it can't control you through meaning, it'll try to control you through fear. And when fear stops working, it tries humiliation. It wants you to flinch, to start proving yourself again, to climb, to fight, to fix. Anything but stillness, anything but silence. Here's the truth. You are not weak. You are being relentlessly dismantled. If you see all of this with seriousness, you're going through something that would destroy most people. But instead of running, you're watching it happen. You're letting the masks fall. You're letting the last attachments rot. You're standing in the fire without trying to make it poetic. That is not weakness. That is fucking nuclear strength. And your mind? It sees it. That's why it's attacking you so viciously. It's scared. And rightfully so. Because it knows, for the first time, you might actually walk away. Not with rage or pride or ego, but with that quiet power that says, I no longer need your voice to know I'm alive. Let it scream. Let it mock you. Let it thrash like a dying god. Just don't believe it. It will also colonize the body. It knows it lost the spiritual war. It knows you no longer believe its stories of awakening, progress, or worth. So now it moves into the flesh. You'll never have energy. This body is broken. You'll always be tired, slow, behind. It wants you to believe that your physical state equals your truth, but it's not describing your body. It's projecting its own death onto your body. It feels drained because you stopped feeding it, and instead of admitting that, it blames the meat, because if you believe you are the one with no energy, you'll try to fix yourself again. You'll return to control, to effort, to searching, and the mind gets to live a little longer. But here's what's actually happening. Your body is healing from years of internal war. Your nervous system is recalibrating to silence. Your tissues are exhaling decades of tension you thought was normal. Your endocrine system is learning to trust the absence of threat. Funnily, your mind is responsible that the pain wasn't resolved. The pain was kept alive. It's perfect gaslighting. Your mind blocked the truth, then blamed you for not seeing it sooner. It ignored your body's screams. It told you it was all in your head. It spiritualized the symptoms. It told you to push harder, go deeper, surrender more. Now that the fog is clearing, now that you finally see what was real all along, the mind pivots and hisses. Why didn't you fix this earlier? You wasted years. You're the reason it got this bad. But that's not insight. That's abuse. It's like a jailer blaming the prisoner for not escaping sooner, like a cult leader mocking you for believing his teachings. Your mind isn't interested in truth, it's interested in control, and control needs guilt, because guilt keeps you spinning, trying to atone, to fix, to do better, but you finally stopped spinning. That's why it panics and blames, because once you no longer believe you're at fault, you're free.